Hello, and welcome to OnLogic Live. We're coming to you live from OnLogic headquarters, where today we're excited to talk about connecting the dots of IoT. There are a lot of terms used to describe connecting a factory or other facility from the edge to the cloud. Industry 4.0, Industrial Internet of Things, and digital transformation, just to name a few. But it all comes down to a combination of hardware and software that lets you capture data about the performance of your facility and use it to gain visibility and insights into your processes, empowering you to improve the efficiency and output of your operations. But we know that getting started can feel complicated and sometimes daunting. So we're here to cut through the complexity and talk about how you can gain and begin connecting your facility quickly and easily. In fact, you could be up and running in about an hour. So to join in on the conversation, add your questions into the comments and we can cover them live here today. And on Twitter, go ahead and use the hashtag OnLogicLive. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and log in to chat to ask questions. So I'm really excited to welcome our guests today, Arlen Nipper and Mike Walsh. And first, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Arlen Nipper, President and CTO of CirrusLink Solutions, IoT pioneer, and co-inventor of the MQTT protocol, which is widely considered to be the gold standard messaging system for the Internet of Things. So Arlen, could you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, thank you, Patrick. Again, my name is Arlen Nipper. I am the CTO of CirrusLink Solutions. So I'm very excited to have this conversation today. I've been doing industrial communications for almost 43 years now. And, it's funny how, I got out of Oklahoma State in 1978 and all the way the evolution of what we're doing today. So I really want to take this opportunity to tell people how we've got this kit that gives us the connectivity to get that data in and get it in easily. So really looking forward to the conversation today.
Really excited to have you. It's been a real pleasure just getting to know you through the process of getting ready for this today, and couldn't be happier to have you. So thank you, Arlen. And also joining us today from our new offices in North Carolina is Mike Walsh. With over 25 years in the technology sector, Mike is the product manager of our industrial line of hardware here at OnLogic. So Mike, could you go ahead and give the folks at home an introduction?
Hey, greetings, Patrick. Greetings, Arlen. Good to see both of you. Yes, as Patrick said, I'm Mike Walsh. I'm down here in our brand new, beautiful North Carolina facility, and really excited to talk with everybody today about digital transformation, how it fits into the industrial sector, and especially about our Connect Kit, which, as Patrick said, you can be up and running in an hour and proving value. So looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for being here. And thank you to both of you for going live with us today. So fully live, ready to go. Arlen, starting with you. In your extensive experience in the IoT space, which we really just touched on very briefly there, what are the most valuable benefits your customers have seen by connecting their machinery or other production systems to the cloud?
Well, what really gets down to is the visibility of the processes. So, typically what we see is that we have a lot of sensors already deployed out there today. We have PLCs, we've got smart transmitters, we've got industrial control computers, but they're all in kind of like a silo. And when we start getting that data up and the operations folks can actually see their data, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was happening. Or this process is tied to the next process in manufacturing. And, I didn't know that was happening. But what we've got to do is be able to connect those devices in the factory, whether it's a PLC or a smart sensor, all of that information, and try to get a holistic view of that. So I think with the Connect Kit and the capabilities we've got to go out there, connect to that equipment in the factory, bring it up to an Ignition dashboard, then be able to take that to Amazon Cloud for analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. That gives people the capability to see basically the art of the possible. Now, going into that, I think, to your point, Patrick, there's at the 50,000 foot view, it's like, oh my gosh, how do I get started? There's all these complexities with cloud and I've got all these connectors. Well, let's bring it down to the operational level. Okay, I just want to connect my data. So we've got to keep it simple. I think when we were talking, Patrick, a lot of times when I'm on with a customer, it's like, oh my God, I got to build a rocket ship. But no, you don't have to build a rocking ship to go, you don't have to build a rocket ship to go to the grocery store. So let's get that simple, let's plug it in, let's get the visibility, let's get that data in the cloud, and then we can go from there. So the Connect Kit, the thing I love about that is that it gives us the ability to start simple, day one, an hour, and then we see what we could do with that. And it's no coding required. So it's all tools on platforms, not coding on operating systems.
Right.
Yeah, it really, that point that you made of getting started, it really helps to inform how you can move forward as well. The learnings, the awareness around, what data might be being left on the table. You can see that your machinery is acting in a certain way when you're there staring at it, but in an essence, there's a little bit of a blinder scenario going on where when you step away, you're not really capturing that data long term. So you're not able to then make informed decisions about how to not only change your process, but also how to move forward with that digital transformation. And to that point, you mentioned, brought it forward about the Connect Kit. So I think it's wise to introduce it. And Mike, you led up a large portion of the development here. And so to help facilities with the process that Arlen had just discussed, can you tell us about the Connect Kit by OnLogic, what it is and why we created it?
Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. What I think is really cool about the Connect Kit is it's a bundle of everything that you need. We start with, one of our most versatile, ruggedized computers. So no matter where you put this, no matter where you're going to do that first hour, it's going to work. Whether you have temperature concerns, vibration, shock, any sort of environmental stuff, you're really, really good to go. This PC is going to work and work well. Second, we include the most commonly needed cables. So I don't know about you, but I hate digging through my cable box looking for exactly the cable that I need. So, it's right there in the box. It's right there at hand. But, one of the key things is that we do pre-installation of the software. So you're not worrying about downloading, installing, configuring, rebooting, all those things. Plug it in, hook it up, and you're off and running. And then finally, and probably most importantly, you've got that 1 hour consultation with CirrusLink. And Arlen and the folks there have done this a million times. They'll be able to hook you up really fast, start generating data, showing the value, because ultimately what this is about is proving it in with the Connect Kit and then going to your stakeholders and saying, hey, this really does work and this is really worth investing in. Now can I talk about scaling this out? And I'll give you a personal aside. I started my career in manufacturing many years ago. And I'll tell you what, if we had visibility like you can get today, very easily and cheaply and without a rocket ship, like Arlen says, man, I wouldn't have been there third shift standing over things and trying to figure out how my, industrial manufacturing line was going and what my results were. So if we could have a time machine and go back in time, I'd love to have that back then. But anyway, I think the Connect Kit is going to be a great solution to help people with proving in that initial value and then going for the full scale deployment.
So, as product manager, it seems logical then, Mike, that maybe the next product is the OnLogic time machine.
Absolutely. I'll put it on my roadmap for next year, Patrick.
Excellent. Yeah, get that on the roadmap. I can't wait to work with you on that one. And really, the cool thing about this, you just mentioned a real world application and what you wish you had in that real world application. And the Connect Kit was actually born out of real world applications of this combination. So Arlen, could you just touch on, I would say, in those real world applications with the customers that we've assisted with this same hardware, what was that day one like? What does that first day of connecting to the cloud look like for that facility?
Well, as you talked about, we do have the hour of consulting. We'll talk to a customer and say, okay, let's pick a machine. We don't want to eat the elephant. Let's pick one machine, say, okay, what protocol is that machine talking? And out of the box, we've got the Allen Bradley, we've got Modbus, we've got Siemens, we've got DMP, we've got BACnet IP, we've got all of this connectivity right out of the box. So in that consulting, we say, okay, let's identify this machine and let's identify some measurements off of that. So we install it, we power it up, we connect to that machine, and then we basically go out, we read those registers, bring them in, and we build a model. Now, once we've got that model built in Ignition, we've got the ability to create a dashboard. So from an operational standpoint, now the managers can see, okay, Patrick, that looks like my machine. All the process variables look good, but I want to take that now and connect it into Amazon. So now we've got the ability to securely connect to Amazon. We'll go through that here in a bit from a security standpoint, because remember, that is paramount, and we're going to connect from the factory to the cloud securely. Now I've got all that real-time information flowing from there into the cloud. So I've got the ability to start looking at one machine and all those process variables. Now, once I've got one machine, we can start putting multiple machines together and start getting an overview of what the plant looks like going forward. So that is the, I think, excites me about the Connect Kit, is that there's no programming required. It's very OT centric. So, people that work on PLCs, that work from the plant floor, we get to pull in that tribal knowledge that's there, and then we get it contextualized, and then we get it to the cloud, where now our data scientists, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, we can start utilizing that information that we have historically left stranded out in the factory.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And leaving it stranded out in the factory, that's a big part of this. Is currently that is exactly what's happening in a large portion of manufacturing. Is that you have the PLC, you have the RTU, it's using that ladder logic to control, the systems, but when that feedback comes back through about, the shape of an operation, like how it's working, how it's evolving, what type of feedback you're getting from those sensors. What happens currently with that data without connecting it up to with the Connect Kit?
Well, and really what it is, Patrick, we've been talking about IoT digital transformation, whatever you want to call it. We're 6, 7, 8 years in. But when, 40 years ago when I started, how we were doing operations and how we're doing it today really hasn't changed that much. So my notion is that instead of from an IT down to OT, where it just doesn't make sense, let's enable operations. So let's flip it around. It's not IT down to OT. It's OT getting the technology to take that tribal knowledge off the factory floor and then be ready to connect to IT. So it's OT enablement, then to IT.
Yeah, and that's it's a great way to look at it. But in the real world, we definitely do see that information technology teams can really be that blocker, right? With when you're entering new hardware into a facility, because they need to make sure that the facility is staying secure. You're not opening up any channels to like the outside world that could be used to affect your production output, et cetera. So specifically, Arlen, what steps have been taken to ensure the Connect Kit is a secure solution that an IT team would embrace?
Well, one of the things that's interesting from my standpoint, we invented Andy Stanford Clark with IBM, and at the time I was with Arcom Control Systems. We invented MQTT on a project for Phillips 66 to make their real-time mission-critical SCADA system work better. So then what's ironic to me is that MQTT was out there, we made sure it was open, but it was adopted by IT first, right? So if I look at the environment today, if I look at Azure, Microsoft Azure, IBM Watson IoT, Google Cloud Platform, Amazon IoT, everybody is using MQTT. Why? Because it's secure. MQTT was built on top of TCP/IP, which means, people look at the MQTT spec and they go, Patrick, we can't use MQTT because it's not, you have no security in it. Well, that's on purpose. It's on top of TCP/IP. So we get to use the IT department that you have, whatever they want to use for security, we get to leverage. So it's an outbound connection from the factory to the cloud. So really, again, why is everybody using MQTT for their IoT ingest? Because of the security aspect. It's very secure, and it makes sure that you can't connect from anywhere in the cloud back into your factory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're opening the door into, in a very one-way fashion, to allow that data to flow out, go into, the AWS cloud, and then utilize that, AWS site-wise treasure trove of resources. And you're doing that without leaving the door open behind you, so to speak. So, that data, or that bad actors, whatever you want to call them, that are looking to exploit open doors in a security, in an IT system, we're just not leaving those doors open through MQTT.
Right. And the thing that I like about it is that, now when we have meetings with OT, with, operations and IT, the cool thing here is that IT are probably already using MQTT. So all of a sudden, we've got a common denominator that everybody understands that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that we have kind of gone into how this kit, how this approach, this combination of hardware and software allows you to quickly and easily connect, drop down some of those IT concerns. Now we're talking about the Connect Kit is in place, it's feeding that data. And Mike, what are some of the next steps that facilities can take to scale their digital transformation from there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the exciting time, right? You've had the Connect Kit hooked up, it's generating data, you're deriving value off of that. You're able to go up to your stakeholders and say, this is really working well for us. Now I need to scale this out. I need 10 machines hooked up, 100 machines hooked up, 1,000 machines hooked up, so I can really bring the value back to the corporation. So that's a great time to reach out to OnLogic. We've got a lot of different models, depending on, any given spot that you need to put a PC, environmental concerns, mounting concerns, form factor, all those kinds of things. We've got a large variety of choices, and we'll help you through those, right? We'll understand what your I/O needs are, what kind of controllers you're hooking up to. We've got a really good bench here that has got a lot of experience with that. From there, if you want any sort of software pre-imaged, if you want your units pre-configured, we can absolutely do that at the factory. I know you probably don't want to receive a whole bunch of units as a customer and then have to do all that work yourself. Let our folks do that. We can take care of that. But I think really the big thing is give us a shout early and let us know how your experience is going. Let us know what you're kind of thinking about, needs that you might have. And we can start working from the OnLogic and CirrusLink, perspective as needed to start thinking about that with you and helping you through those decisions.
Well, and don't forget, Mike, you've also got all of the legacy interfaces that you need as well. So, even behind me, I've got legacy flow computers. Like this one is RS485. So I've got, my Troll sitting on top of my OnLogic unit here. But the thing is that behind me, we've got, 1980 model flow computers using RS485. RS485, what does that mean? That means it takes 4 engineers 8 days to make this thing work. But I've got the ability now with the tools that I get from the OnLogic Connect Kit to do RS232, RS485, RS422, Ethernet. I've got multiple Ethernet ports. So I've got everything that I need to connect that brownfield legacy equipment, get my visualization, and then take the data that's pertinent and get it up to Amazon site-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from my years in the factory, you're not dealing with technology that was deployed in last year. You
No.
got a lot of stuff that you got to support, and you got to keep those manufacturing lines running. So I totally appreciate that. And yeah, as I sit here with my Connect Kit box and I spin it around and look at all the different configuration options we have, this is a great unit to start with. We got a lot of other ones. But yeah, your comp connections, your serial connections, your CAN, all those kinds of things, we can absolutely support. Got to keep that stuff running for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So it can, out of the box, it can connect easily, simply to, 90% plus of the PLCs or RTUs that are, utilizing that Ethernet connection now. But if you do have some of those more, I would say, unique connections or even more legacy hardware, the piece of hardware that's included has that ability to connect up. So that's really great, that combination of both that hardware that can scale with you and continue to provide value as you scale, but also the resource of having Arlen and CirrusLink there to help guide you through that initial launch. I think that combination is really powerful. And I am noticing actually that we are getting a ton of questions. So I think this is the best time to jump over and start with a few questions. We're going to start with one that we received during the lead up to our session today, just to give people some more time that you're watching live to go ahead and type your question into the chat or whichever social platform that you're watching from today. So we'll be happy to cover those, and we're going to dive into those shortly. But to kick things off, I'm looking to connect to a remote site. How can I transmit data from a location without Ethernet connections?
Yeah, that's a great question. We appreciate that. So I'll go first. With this unit that we've configured, we put in wireless and Bluetooth, figuring that you've probably got a wireless network in your environment there. But if you don't and you need to go cellular, we've got 4G LTE cards that we can configure in here as well. But I know connectivity is something that Arlen and I have talked a lot about, and there's a lot of really cool implications about MQTT and the way that they thought out connectivity. So, Arlen, do you mind kind of expanding on what that means?
Well, again, I'll go back. We invented MQTT for Phillips 66. The aggregate bandwidth that we had over the VSAT system in 1999 was 300 baud. 300 baud, not 300 megabits or whatever. And so what we find out is that over the last 22 years, if we take a legacy poll response system and upgrade it to MQTT, we're looking at 80 to 95% bandwidth efficiency. So what we would have used is it's 80 to 95% less. So that lets us utilize cellular. And again, it's an outbound connection. So even if I'm on public cellular, it's still secure. And I can get that information from my remote site with very limited connectivity into a visualization into the cloud very efficiently.
That's awesome. And if you do experience a disconnection, my understanding is that it will queue up. And because we have that intelligent PC at the edge, it can store and log those so that when connection is reestablished, then it's able to, without just like flooding, the network, it's able to then start to feed that into the system that you're running your visualizations on to make sure you don't have that kind of blind spot in your timeline.
Exactly. So, up until, the ignition software and MQTT and things like that, if the network went down, you had a blind spot in your historical data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So now with store and forward technology, we know when the MQTT connection is down, all of those messages that we would have published get put into a store and forward queue. And then when the network comes back up, that data, to your point, Patrick, we don't want to create a data storm. It's slowly backfed into the historian. So it backfills any information that you would have lost had you not, been using MQTT.
Awesome. Yeah, and let's jump in to one of the questions that we have out there in the social realm. So as a baby step type of thing, do we have a point the Connect Kit? Do we have a point the Connect Kit to a cloud broker? So do we have to point that to it, Or can we point it to a broker within the process control network? And wouldn't that even make sense or add value?
Absolutely. So, we're talking about Amazon. They're a great partner, but, the truth of the matter is you can point the Connect Kit at any MQTT broker that you've got in your facility. So it doesn't have to go to cloud. You can keep everything on-prem. It still has all of that value, is that it is basically connecting to an MQTT broker. So it could be on-prem, it could be in the cloud, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Thank you. And let's see here. I think we have time for one more. So does the Connect Kit offer similar functionality to Node-RED?
No, I love it. Node-RED was actually an offshoot of what with the team that Andy and I worked with in Hursley in the UK, and it is an MQTT creature, right? It basically lets you graphically wire up flows. So yes, you can think of the Connect Kit as Node-RED on steroids.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, I think we have to wrap up for the day. It is live, and we try to keep these brief, informative. If you have any questions, though, we're going to keep going, and the three of us are going to jump right after this and see if there's any other questions out there in the chat, and then just answer you directly. So keep those questions coming. We'll be happy to follow up with you. And thank you again, Arlen. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us today. It was like a real pleasure to have both of you.
Thanks, Patrick.
A lot of
Excellent. So if you'd like to learn more about what we covered today, visit onlogic.com/connect or cirrus-link.com. And to the folks at home watching or at the office, thank you so much for joining us for OnLogic Live, connecting the dots of IoT. So to take us out, we have a bonus unboxing video of the Connect Kit with our very own Hans. So we look forward to seeing you next time on OnLogic Live. Hans, take it away.
Hey, I'm Hans, and I'd like to introduce you to the Connect Kit by OnLogic. The Connect Kit is designed to help you begin the digital transformation of your facility in 1 hour. We've combined our durable and reliable hardware with powerful software and consultation from our trusted partners. At the heart of the Connect Kit is a rugged computer for reliable operation in even the most challenging environments. This AWS IoT certified system comes preloaded with a trial version of Inductive Automation's powerful ignition software. In the box, you'll also find 4 adhesive non-slip feet, a terminal block connection kit for DIO, CAN bus, and power, and a set of port blockers that can be used to fill up any unused connections. This is a premium cable bundle, so you can connect your existing equipment right out of the box and get up and running quickly. It included DIN rail mounting, bracket, and power supply. One of the most valuable components of the kit that can't be packed into a box, the Connect Kit includes an hour of consultation with the digital transformation experts at CirrusLink Solutions to guide you through your initial setup. We've also designed the Connect Kit to scale with the modernization of your business with long lifecycle hardware and advanced I/O to connect additional resources. Are you ready to connect? Then we have the kit for you. Check out the Connect Kit on our website.